This Roman soldier should have been forgotten forever. No family, no records, no legacy. But 2,000 years later, we still know his name, not because of Rome, but because two men he once owned refused to let him disappear. And what they did goes completely against everything the Roman Empire stood for. His name was Marcus Favonius Vassilis, a centurion, the kind of man Rome trusted to enforce order without hesitation. But at some point in his life, he made a decision that Rome was never built to understand. He chose people over power, and that choice is the only reason we're talking about him right now. But to understand why that matters, you need to see what Rome turned men like him into. Rome didn't just build an army, it built a machine, a system designed to remove hesitation, fear, even empathy, because a soldier who hesitates dies, and worse, can get everyone else killed too. Marcus was a centurion, not just a fighter, the one responsible for making sure 80 men never broke formation. He didn't just face the enemy, he controlled his own side. Discipline wasn't optional, it was enforced, hard, and Rome rewarded men who could do that without question. That's how Marcus rose. That's how he was sent to Britain, one of the harshest, most unstable edges of the empire. Cold, wet, unforgiving, and far from Rome. This wasn't home. It was a place you survived. Rome had a rule. For soldiers like Marcus, no wives, no families, no attachments. For 25 years, because a man with something to lose might hesitate at the wrong moment, and Rome could not afford hesitation. So officially, Marcus had no one, no partner, no children, no life outside the army. That's what the system said. But reality doesn't follow rules like that, because even in a place like Britain, people still meet, still connect, still build something quietly, carefully, and over time, those connections become something Rome never planned for, something stronger than orders. And this is where Marcus makes the decision that changes everything. At some point, Marcus freed two men, Veracundus, Novicius. We don't know exactly when or why, but we know this: freedmen didn't owe loyalty anymore. They could walk away, start over, forget everything that came before, and most did. But these two didn't. They stayed, connected to Marcus, which means something changed. Because Rome didn't teach that. It didn't reward that. If anything, it discouraged it. And yet, Marcus built something anyway. Not an empire, a life. In 1868, construction workers in England hit something underground, a stone, buried, face down. For nearly 1,800 years, someone had pushed it over, on purpose, erased it, left it, to disappear. But when they flipped it back over, every word was still there. His name, his rank, his legion, and then 2 more names: Veracundus, Novicius, the man who paid for the stone, not Rome. Them. Just think about that. And here's what makes this even more unbelievable. Not long after Marcus's time, everything he built was destroyed completely. Her name was Boudica, and when Rome pushed too far, she pushed back hard. Cities burned, tens of thousands died. Camladunum, the very place Marcus lived, was wiped out, reduced to ash. The evidence is still there today, a black layer in the ground, marking the exact moment everything ended. His world didn't fade, it was destroyed, which means this shouldn't exist. The stone was buried, the city was gone, his life erased, and yet, 2,000 years later, you can still walk into a museum and see his name, because 2 men decided he mattered. Veracundus and Novicius didn't have to do this. They were free. They could have walked away, and no one would have questioned it. But they didn't. They spent their own money to make sure Marcus was remembered, which means at some point he made them feel like more than property, more than a transaction. He made them feel human. And when he was gone, they returned the favor. Marcus never changed the empire. He never won a famous battle. Rome would have forgotten him completely. But history didn't survive because of Rome. It survived because someone cared enough not to forget. Empires fall, systems collapse, names disappear. But being remembered? That only happens if someone chooses you. If this story stayed with you, that's the point. Because history isn't really about empires. It's about the people who refuse to let others disappear. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. And tell me, who else do you think history forgot?